It's been a few days since MekaVerse dropped and the price floor is continuing to rise. The reveal has been rescheduled and the volume is absolutely crazy. Let's jump in and check out the stats. First up, I want to say if you could hit the like button, it really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Also down below, there's chapters so you can fast forward to the sections that you want to help you navigate the video easier. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Please do your own research before jumping into the NFT space. So heading over onto their Discord, this was put up 2 days ago. This is where we get to the raffle statistics, and this gives us a little bit of a behind the scenes look at how the raffle actually went down. They had almost 180,000 total wallets registered for the raffle. Out of the 172,000, they had 56,000 that selected one Meka and 115 that wanted two. So just as I thought, there were a lot of people that did want to get two, and it made sense because if you're in it, you want to be in it to win it. On their website, they had 4.6 million views and they had 660,000 unique people on their website. So the volume of traffic was absolutely insane. And then when it comes down to the unminted Mekas and the contract, we're aware that a certain number of tokens were not minted. Stay tuned, as these MekaVerse NFTs will be used for giveaways to active members and supporters and future events. Now look, this is nice to see. If it's going to go to giveaways, it's going to go out to people that actually want to get their hands on them and that are active in the community, but it is a bit of a shame for those people that did miss out. So you can't win them all, but saying that, I do like the fact that they're kind of not just doing another raffle and doing another kind of run through, but they're actually going to give these out to the community. Another thing that they could have done was burn them, but I don't think that would have been a good idea. The reveal has been postponed to the 12th of October, and they're partnering with Opensea to make sure that it's as smooth as possible. And this is nice to see because I feel like there will be huge traffic on Opensea. It'll be a lot of people looking for content when the reveal drops, and we'll get into what the implications of the drop coming to price a little bit later. And then also in my last video, which you can see up here, I was talking about them actually transferring money out of their main address, and they actually addressed that here with ETH wallet transfer. MekaVerse is a huge project. Security will always be very important to us. We transferred our ETH from our main contract to a private MetaMask wallet for maximum security. So what they've done here is they've said they've transferred it to actually kind of keep it safe, but saying that after the transfers, we did actually see some transactions out and those wallets and addresses weren't actually holding them. I'm not sure if they've split them around and wanted to get into some stable coins, but there has been a distribution of the ETH. Now jumping on over to Opensea, we can get a snapshot of the project. So we've got the items and the owners and the floor price 8.65. And then at the buy now, we can see here 8.65, 8.7, 8.8. Then we'll kind of get up to 8.9. So the floor could get really fast up to that 9 with some buyers, and we can jump in and have a look and see how fast that floor can rise when we go over to Nansen and actually have a look at the stats and some of the volume and recent transactions. Over on Nansen, in the 24-hour market overview, we can see here that MekaVerse is number 2, and they've got that volume of 3,380 ETH, and that's over this last 24-hour period. When we actually head over into MekaVerse, deployed 54 hours ago, and then we've got the NFTs in circulation. We can see the huge volume here, and the volume's dropping down, but this day has just started, so we need to see a close here to see what the volume is, but we can see the average price denominated by the blue line just constantly rising. Then when we have a look at the individual transactions, this is where we start to see the story. We can see the initial drop here, then it kind of goes up, then we kind of come down, and this is where I did that video beforehand when we kind of hit here. It's then continuously starting to rise up and then rise to the top, and we can see this large uptick over the last day, and I think this is where people are starting to kind of really buy into the mania, buy into the hype, and see where it's going. I do believe once we get to the reveal, the price floor will drop dramatically for some of those less rare ones, but it's not going to crush through like a 1 ETH floor. I still believe we'll kind of hold at around that 4 ETH mark. That's just my intuition from this space. And the reason that I say that I feel like it'll hold on to that 4 ETH floor is that's where a lot of people have bought in. So I would imagine that some people will be setting up some alerts and some snipes to get them in at 4, because they know that over time we could get up to that 8 ETH mark, which is where we're currently at with the floor. So I imagine if there is a wick down, it'll go down to about a 4 ETH mark, and then after that it'll start to kind of rise. Having a look at the top balances, what we can see is the top balance here are 56. Then we've got 37, 33, 25, then we get to the 20s and the 18. And then when we come down to top balances over time, we can see here that it is just increasing. Now, it will be interesting to see what happens once there is a reveal, because if there are rares or not so rares, some of these top balances may actually release some of them to just kind of recoup some of their costs. And the type of NFT collector over time, we've got a mix between the epic and the legendary holders there. Coming down to the smart money is buying in and holding. There's only been one person that's kind of done that sell, but I covered that in my previous video, and I believe that they got it at mint, and that's why they sold out for a tidy, quick flip. Now, I think everyone will be holding, because until the reveal, we really don't know where this goes or what people have got. It's silly to be holding onto something that you bought it for to sell for 8 when you could be holding onto something that could be a rare. Having a look at the unique addresses, we can see here it peaked at 5,553, and it's kind of ducked off. So it feels like there have been some weaker hands, and they kind of have sold, which is fine, and just gone into the hands of other people. In terms of the percentage just holding one NFT, we end up at 62%. Now, we'll cut in real quick and say that with the NFTs on the market and the current holders, we're currently sitting at around that 60% ownership mark, which is nice that it's over that 50% mark. I find that anything over that 50% mark is good. Anything over 60 is good. Once you're kind of starting to get the 75, 80s, that's where it gets absolutely insane, because you know that the community holding it, and they're not big people holding massive, massive bags of that token. And then coming down to the balance of diamond hands, the top balance is still diamond handing and holding that, but I feel like this chart can't tell us anything until we get to the reveal. Now, coming down to the fun part, which is the profit leaderboard, here we can get an idea of the gains that people have made. So we can see here that there has been a profit of 19. Then we get 16, 16, 16, 15, 14, 14. Now, the reason that this is a very peculiar profit leaderboard is that this NFT currently has a floor of 8.5. Now, the reason that this is crazy is if you got it mint and you actually sold 2, you would be number 2 on the profit leaderboard. We can see this guy spent 0.4 and he sold them at 16. So he sold them at 8 a piece. And what I'm taking away from this chart is that the big collectors, not necessarily the people that have just minted, aren't the ones selling, because we can see here that they spent 0.4, and we can see the revenue here of sort of that 14, 15, 16. Now, I also believe that once we get the reveal, some of these top holders and top balances will start to offload some of the less rare ones, and we'll start to kind of see that chart change around and play out a little bit differently. Coming over to the top 5 buying addresses, we can see here that they've bought at around that sort of 4.5 mark. So that's why I don't believe that we'll kind of end up with a floor too low, because they've bought in at 5. I think that if it does wick down to a 4, people will snap them up quite fast. Coming down to where the legendary collectors are buying, we can see here that it is an uptrend of where they're buying. So it's almost like they're starting to FOMO in themselves. And then when it comes to the smart money, they got in real good, and then the smart money is even starting to buy in a little bit higher, nowhere near the current price floor, but they're kind of looking to snipe some good deals and bargains. And then when it comes down to the recent transactions, we can see here that it is moving quite fast. So what we can take away from this chart is that within the hour, we could easily be moving up 30 sales, which can then mean that we'll kind of move that price floor up. And that's why this price floor is moving quite fast. Now, in my Discord, we've been chatting about Meka, and I'm sure that you've been in other Discords chatting about MekaVerse, and the fact that there have been people out there that were able to kind of game the system. They were able to get multiple entries in the raffle and actually kind of receive different parts from different wallets, which is crazy because it's very hard for the team to kind of outsmart people and do this. And this is where I feel like if there is some hype around a project, what teams need to do is be very conscious about how they can actually release this and do a drop. By limiting it to one person, it would then mean that these people would need to put even more effort into creating even more sort of pseudo accounts and fake accounts to get their hands on one. It would then give a chance for all of the community to actually get a hold of one. And then also I've been in other mints where they've made people play games, where they've made people put in passwords and doing these types of things to then make it harder for someone to kind of come in and program a bot to actually kind of gain multiple entries to a raffle. So overall, that's where MekaVerse is currently sitting. Once the reveal happens, I want to jump in and do another one. If you'd like to see that, comment below and I'll come in and do that, and we can kind of see where the price floor is going. My price predictions of this, I feel like the price floor will kind of stay around that 8. I think it won't get too much over 10. Once we hit the reveal, there will be some that will be sold and the price floor will drop a little bit. You'll start to get the people, the retail holders that are holding 2, say, will start to see the price floor drop. They'll think they're not holding something that's as rare, and they'll kind of chase that down. I think we might wick down to around 4 ETH. There will be some savvy buyers out there that will then buy in at that 4 ETH mark, and then it should kind of catch it and go back up. And then we might hit around that kind of equilibrium at around that 6 ETH mark, because currently what we're priced in is everyone has an equal chance essentially of having a rare Meka. Because what will happen soon is there will be the bag holder that is holding sort of 5 or 6 that aren't quite rare, that are quite common, and that's where I feel like they'll start to offload to recoup some of their costs. So anyway, if you like this video, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. If there's anything you'd like me to jump in and do a deep dive on when I do my next follow-up with MekaVerse, please let me know in the comments below, and then I can ensure that I kind of jump in and dive into that data and dissect it to give you more information. As always, it's been a pleasure having you with me. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.